Record.
Recording in progress. Welcome back to Operation Evil. This is episode 56. We read it and said it volume 4. I'm your host, Nyoka.
I'm Rachel.
And before we get to talking about all this Reddit stuff, I wanted to give a shout out to my son-in-law, Michael, because his birthday, it would probably already be past actually by the time we put this out. But happy birthday.
I didn't realize their birthdays were that close together.
Yep. Crazy. July is
Happy birthday, Michael.
It's a busy birthday month.
It is.
Also, I was like on Facebook and Rob Flynn came on live and I was like, cool. He's like reading stuff, you know, because it's the very beginning. And he's like, oh, hi, blah, blah, blah. And hi, blah, blah, blah. And hi, blah, blah, blah from Honduras and blah, blah, blah. And I put hi on there like 3 times. Did I get a hi? No.
Because he continues to ignore us.
He does. I mean, I was like maybe the 9th person to say hi on there. Like I was early in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like I was on it and I got nothing. Do you think it's because of my name? Because people see my name and they're like, I don't know how to say it, so I'm just going to ignore it.
He's stupid, though. He should know how to say it.
And why is he ignoring us? Come on, Rob Flynn.
You're about to get another email. You've only gotten 20. Sometimes I just like resend, like I'll forward what I've already sent. I'll just like resend it.
He's probably not even looking at it. I don't even know.
Hey,
I tried.
Hey, the last one that I sent him, I was like, hey, wouldn't it be a really good idea for you to do an episode with us about Varg from Mayhem?
Yes. If only he would listen to us and know that we're talking about him. All right, guys. So it's Friday when we're recording. It's been a long day. It's been a long week, actually, and it's going to be a longer week next week. So anyway, we wanted to do some Reddit stuff today because it's fun.
This week feels like it's been a year.
It really does. And she was even off on Monday and Tuesday. And it still feels long. Anyway. All right. I'm just going to jump right on in. This one is titled Creepy Guy in Car. So this happened a few months ago. For context, I'm a 24-year-old female and look younger than my age. So I tend to attract creeps wherever I go. I also suffer from anxiety, so my guard is always up whenever I'm on my way out. Anyways, back to the story. On the day I was making my way back from the grocery shopping around 5 p.m., I was waiting at the bus stop situated right behind the grocery store, and there was a gas station a couple feet to the left of me. As I was taking a sip of my soda and scanning the cars driving past, I noticed this guy in what looked like an old green Honda Civic. His window was rolled down and we made direct eye contact. He was staring at me intently, which immediately made me feel uneasy. I made a mental note of the guy in the car just in case he decided to pull over to the road next to me. A few seconds later, he rolls his window up and makes a turn towards the road leading to the grocery store, which was about 15 feet away from my left. The guy just sits there for a few minutes and doesn't move. At this point, all the alarm bells in my mind are going off and I'm thinking of how to get myself out of this situation. Just as I suspected, he puts his car in reverse and slowly drives by the road next to me, rolls his window down and shouts something unintelligible. I obviously don't wait and start speed walking the opposite way towards the gas station with pepper spray clutched in my hand. I look back to see if he had turned around to follow me. And thankfully he didn't. I wonder how things would have turned out if I hadn't paid attention to my surroundings and listened to my gut instinct. I don't know. I always trust your gut, but she kind of sounds like she does have anxiety, and maybe it wasn't what she thought. I don't know. That's just my first instinct. Somebody said you acted exactly as you should have in that situation. That is super creepy, and I'm glad you listened to your intuition. The fact that he booked it when he saw how you reacted leads me to believe he had ill intentions. Someone else said, all these creeps in the comments defending this random creepy stranger without properly reading OP's post and without being there when it happened to make an objective observation of the situation. Y'all are telling on yourselves. Somebody said, always trust your gut.
I was kind of waiting for more.
Yeah, it was very short.
Like more to happen.
Somebody makes a good point and said maybe he would have asked you for a cigarette. You never know. Yeah, I mean, you don't. I mean, to me, it's just like she starts off by saying, I suffer from anxiety. I mean, she already had pepper spray in her hand ready to go. So I don't know. I didn't find this very creepy, but just wanted to put that one out there and see what everybody else thought. Let's see what else we have. Okay. Some of these I didn't read ahead of time. Some of these I was like, what's this? And I kind of scanned it. So some of this is a surprise to me too. This one's titled. We like surprises. Yep, we do. This one's called My Fake Brother. This seriously happened to me last year. I was home alone. My two older brothers are always in our local church, which is just very near to us. It's like one street away. We also had no electricity. It was daytime. We couldn't pay our bill on time. So I was home alone. I'll have to admit, I'm not in the church with my brothers because I'm too lazy when it comes to religions and things that need me to go out to talk to people. I would always choose to be home alone back then.
Yes.
So yeah, I was home alone, no electricity, just using my phone, drawing stuff on my sketchbook, music, etc. My brother went home and he went straight to the bedroom, no word or anything at all, but it wasn't very fast. He walked very normal with a normal face. So after a couple hours, it was almost getting nighttime. We do have candles, but I couldn't find it. So I was asking my brother, who's still not going out from the bedroom. He went out quickly and went outside the house after he told me to follow him and fix the electricity. I was like, what's your plan? And he asked me to get the screwdriver and pliers. He taught me how to get back electricity when it's cut off. He told me to cut this hanging thing. It was a lock for this electricity meter or something. It's a circle-shaped thing that's attached to a wall in every house that has electricity. They had me lost on this electricity thing. But anyway, he told me to remove the seal after the lock and pulled out the whole cover. This revealed a plastic chip that was in between this metal that was supposed to be in contact with the cover. I just removed. So I removed the chip and put it back the cover and the lights went on. And I was like, oh, wow, that's it. That was easy. My brother went straight back to the bedroom again. Then I received a call on my phone. We're going to spend a night here. You should come here. We got electricity and food here, my brother said. The one who's speaking. Of course, I know his voice. I know my brother's voice. This voice is the one who helped me fix our electricity. I told him, where are you? He said he's in the church. I said, stop. You're obviously joking. You're so lame. But I wanted to come to his bedroom just to throw a pillow at him. But I realized I'm not even hearing any voice from his bedroom while I was talking to him. He was talking normal. He was not being quiet. I could hear him inside, but there was no voice at all. I couldn't run. My legs turned so weak. I didn't even want to make any sounds at all. I slowly, as I grabbed my pants and slowly walked outside while looking at every single corner. I was tearing up so bad. My lips were shaking. I was thinking, if this is a prank, this person's a horrible writer. I'm just going to skip a little bit. But it is not. It is not a prank. I arrived at the church trembling, even cried worse when I saw both of my brothers. They had never even seen me cry like that before. I'm even crying while typing this out. It has got to be the most traumatic memory of my life. I have been with someone I'm surely is not human. That is not my brother. I have talked to him. I followed his orders to fix their electricity. I freaked out and followed a non-human's command.
What the hell is this person talking about? But wait, does it say that this person actually looked inside her brother's room?
No. Said no. But I mean, they just had this whole electricity thing happen.
So they just left and went to the church?
No, they were already gone. So whoever was his brother helping him with electricity was not his brother, because his brother was at the church the whole time.
But like he left the house to go look for his brother?
No, he probably left the house to maybe go to the electricity box or something. I don't know. Or no, he did go leave the house. Oh my God, why is this so confusing? Let me see what other people say here.
That sounds like that's just a little fable.
Yeah. Well, your fake brother was very kind, at least. Best fake brother you could ask for. It's a very rare occurrence that a doppelganger helps a brother out.
I kept thinking that this was a girl, but it's a boy.
Yeah. This is obviously deeply disturbing, and it would have scared me very much as well. However, since you seem at least open to the idea of religion, why not comfort yourself by thinking it was a disguised angel sent to help you? We were in an unfortunate situation and something helped you. The doppelganger literally helped you turn darkness into light. Seems like the opposite actions of something that would do harm, right?
They went like beyond with that explanation.
Yeah, it did.
Hey, have you ever had weird stuff like that happen though? Like Gary said that one time that when he was a kid, that him and his mom and his stepdad and his brother's sister, like they were all driving and they were on the interstate and they got a flat tire. And so they had to get pulled off the side of the road, and there was a tire on the side of the road that fit their car perfectly.
No, that's crazy.
And like, of
that's
course,
awesome.
This was before cell phones and stuff, of course. This was in the late 80s, early 90s. But how weird is that?
That is very weird. Somebody asked the guy that posted this, they said, was the doppelganger still in your brother's bedroom after you got off the phone with real brother? Did you check his bedroom? Which is what you asked.
Exactly.
Well, he wrote back and he said, well, I didn't come back with them, but all I know is that they found no one in there. They just saw that our electricity was back.
He's making me yawn.
Right? I don't know. That's a weird one. On to the next. This one is called A Child Answered My Thought. I don't really know if this belongs here, but it's such a weird but insignificant event that I need to share it. I was at a family event today. There were a few relatives I knew.
I like it.
But hadn't spent a lot of time with. They sat away from the main celebrations with my partner and one of the kids. She was 9 and took a shine to us. I thought I could smell smoke. Didn't vocalize it. Didn't even look up from my phone. Just thought it. The little girl looked at me and said, "You're right. They're having a fire next door. You can see the smoke." And then she proceeded to point above the trees where there was smoke. My partner asked what she was going on about, and she didn't reply. I later asked my partner if I spoke aloud about fires, and she said no. I also shouted her name for like 10 minutes after and got no response. So less psychic and more glitch. Was also sober and don't believe in the paranormal. Okay. Well, that's interesting. She had a thought of smelling smoke and the girl confirmed it.
You ever have anything weird happen like that?
No, not like that. That's like some psychic stuff, some mind reader stuff.
Maybe it's her angel on her wing, or what, like, the angel on your shoulder.
Guardian angel, spirit guide.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Somebody said, Once I thought to myself, maybe I should give the kids cookies for a snack today as a treat. My daughter immediately looked at me and said, yes, cookies for snack would be a great idea, Mom. I asked how she knew what I was thinking. She insisted that I'd spoken it out loud, but I definitely had not. That's creepy.
It's kind of like when you're thinking something and then someone's thinking the same thing, but that's one step up from that.
Apparently, this is a thing because there's like other comments that says,
bunch?
yeah, somebody says, same thing happened to me a few years back. I was on the way to a retirement party with my grandmother. I was about 16 at the time and she was still driving back then. There was a super weird way that took you to the museum. The party was at basically it was one way in and one way out, but looked like a highway with multiple lanes. We ended up going the wrong way and a huge truck honked at us as we were approaching. Then we saw the wrong way sign. We screamed and panicked, then laughed as we walked in about it, thankfully saying nothing had happened. As soon as we arrived at the retirement party, a woman who had brought her 4-year-old son greeted us. He followed us both around as we fixed our plates and sat down next to us. As we were eating, his mom walked away to fix her plate. He looked at both of us and said, y'all are going the wrong way just a minute ago, but it's okay. Y'all are safe. Me and my grandmother looked at each other in shock. Neither of us said a single word about what had happened. Later, my grandmother asked his mother about it as they were sort of close work friends. And she said, his mother's face turned white and she said, it happens a lot. He is special. We just don't know exactly what to make of it. She never discussed it with his mom again, but we discussed it years later. It was so bizarre. That is bizarre.
Wonder what that child is up to.
Right? And another one says, I relate a lot with this because 2 days ago, something similar happened to me. I was coming back from work on my way to pick up my 3-year-old from daycare and it started to rain. I went to find my keys from my purse and spent a good few minutes frantically looking for them while holding an umbrella. I stopped looking when I walked up to the daycare and accepted the fact that I didn't have them. We would have to stay outside until my husband came, which was in 15 minutes. On the walk home, my 3-year-old casually mentions that we don't have the keys to go home out of nowhere. I played it cool that daddy was on his way and he had the keys, but it freaked me out a little. Oh my gosh, there's seriously like a ton on this thread of people like experiencing this same thing.
Did you ever hear about that woman? It was actually a couple. They were on Oprah and they were on the freeway and they had a really bad accident and all 3 of their children were killed in this accident. And they were like, I think like toddler age. All 3 children died. They were triplets, of course, all born the same day and stuff. So many years later, this couple had another set of triplets.
No.
Yeah. And I might be totally wrong here, but it seems like there's something with the date too. Like, I don't know if they were born on the anniversary date or if there's something with the date.
Wow, that is creepy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it reminds me of too, like, you know, when you would think about the telephone ringing or someone calling you and then like they did or whatever. It's kind of like that sort of thing, like with this story. Like you manifest
or like
it.
If you think about, like if you think about someone that you haven't seen in like a year.
Yes.
And then you see them.
Yeah. It's creepy. It's very creepy. All right, I'll go to the next one. That one was like so good. Like there's so many freaking like comments about people experiencing this. It's insane. Okay.
It's almost like little little blessings.
Yeah. Premonition dream. So here's my story. I couldn't talk about this for like 5 years until last year that I started to feel comfortable. When I was 14, I dreamed about my great grandmother's death. I was very used to having nightmares. I was used to control my dreams and change them like a video game, but this was different. I was alone in my grandma's house and I saw my great grandma dead. I woke up crying and told it to my mom. She said it was just a dream and that we didn't live with my grandparents, so it was impossible that I saw her. So I forgot about the dream. Fast forward a year, we were living in my grandpa's house. My great grandmother had been sick for almost 3 years, 3 months. 3 months before she died, she started getting dementia. She couldn't walk, she couldn't eat. So we were expecting the inevitable, but grandma stayed with her every day, all day. But one day she really needed to go to the bank. She left for 2 hours. I was asleep and she told me to keep an eye on my great grandmother. My mom left to see her mother. And when I woke up, I went to see my great grandmother. She wasn't breathing and I was alone in the house. When my mom came back, I asked her if she remembered about that dream I told her about, and she did. And that was the start of the premonitions. If you want to know more, just tell me. Da, 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 da. So I guess like it happened exactly the way she dreamt it later.
Wow.
Have you had a dream that came true?
No, have you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, I know you've had some dreams in the past that, yeah.
Yep.
And I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. It's a weird experience when you do dream those things. Somebody said that when I was a child and into my teenage years, I had a recurring nightmare about my father dying. He died when I was 20. That's horrible. So you're tortured with these nightmares for years upon years, and then he dies when you're young. Okay, let's see what I got here. How my mother almost got dragged into a van. First off, I need to, trigger warning for a slight mention of gore. So if you're sensitive, don't read this story. I'm already interested.
It says gore. Yes. Tell us more.
We want to know more. I saw that last time when I posted here, you guys were really interested in my experience. So here is something that happened to my mother. It was around 8 p.m. in the late 70s, early 80s in communist Romania. My mother was playing on the street alone. All the kids were inside their houses. Then my mother saw a group of men coming in her direction. They approached her, asking her, where is whatever street? We'll just say X. Where is X street? My mom didn't think a lot about it because she was young, maybe 7 or 8, and she called the men to follow her. Now, the men knew where the street was. At least that is what my mother thinks now. They asked her if she knew a shortcut, which she replied with yes. That shortcut led to their van. When she reached the street, she saw the van, but there wasn't anything she can do except, of course, scream. The men tried to pull her into the van, but she started screaming, and right then a neighbor appeared. When the men saw him, they ran and left my mom alone. Then the neighbor made sure that my mom went home safely. These days, I asked my mother, why does she think that the men wanted to kidnap her? She told me that back in the day, there were people who would kidnap children, kill them, and bathe in their blood. I was pretty skeptical about that last statement. But who knows what goes through some people's minds. Luckily, my mother was safe since she told me that she never followed any stranger anywhere, no matter how polite they look. Somebody said, I'm happy your mother made it out safe. There's a lot of almost kidnapped stories on Reddit. This apparently happens pretty often. I don't know about killing kids and bathing in their blood, though. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty far-fetched thing.
Somebody said, I suspect that the legend that people abduct kids to kill them and drink their blood was told as a cautionary tale to scare kids from interacting with strangers. But Dracula, he just impaled his victims on stakes, long poles, and placed them around his territory to strike fear in the hearts of potential whatever. But maybe
that's a good point, though, about scaring kids.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, too. Somebody said, wanting her for sex slavery seems more possible to me. Pedophiles have always existed. True story. People kidnap children for many reasons, but almost never to bathe in their blood. Reminds me of Satanic Panic. That is true. Okay. This one's for you. It's called The Cat Tries to Warn Us.
Oh, let me tell you this real quick.
Yes.
I was watching this video on the YouTube, and it was of this toddler that was like he was like standing at a window, and he was putting his hands like over this railing thing. I mean, he would have had to really pull himself up to like fall out. But this freaking cat was like pushing the kid's hand away. You know how like mostly like dogs would do something like that?
Mm-hmm.
This freaking cat was pushing the hands of this kid away, like stop it, you're gonna fall, like quit. That is the craziest shit I've seen in a while. A cat.
I love watching those videos where cats just do a-hole things, you know. They're just
Usually that's the thing, they do a-hole things, but this one was like saving a kid's life.
Yeah, that's crazy. Oh my gosh. All right. Back to the cat. The cat.
The cat.
I grew up in a small rural town where nothing ever happens. That sort of place where it wasn't unusual to leave your doors unlocked and your closest neighbors are a mile or so from your house. Our family also had this giant old cat, Tag, who was a bit of a drama king, but we loved him. One summer when I was around 9 or 10 years old, the cat starts going ballistic. Tag generally slept in my room, curled up next to me until I fell asleep, and then they would get up to doing whatever the cats did at night. Occasionally, he would meow or try to wake me up on unfortunate nights when he could see the bottom of his food bowl and needed a midnight snack. Usually, if I ignored him, he would give up or rarely go try to wake up my mom instead. This night, however, he bangs against my parents' bedroom door until he gets in and is meowing loud enough to wake us up. Our bedroom doors were next to each other, and I could call to Tag and to come to bed because it's about 2 a.m. He is having none of it and is carrying on. My mom gets up, goes down to the kitchen, and then huffs back up with Tag on her heels, still meowing insanely. She said his bowl had plenty of food and he just walked her to the door of the kitchen. Tag was an indoor-outdoor cat, but had his own cat door through the garage, so there was no need for one of us to let him out. My mom said my brother must have left the kitchen door open and the screen door was shut, but she wasn't holding it open forever for the cat just to stand there and not go out. She shut the kitchen door and went back to sleep, firmly shutting her bedroom door so Tag couldn't let himself back into their room. I always kept treats for him in my room and offered him one, but he was still meowing at the door, trying to get them up. I grabbed him and bring him back into my room and shut my door to try to get him to sleep. I lay in bed trying to go to sleep, and Tag meows at the door wanting back out. I finally open my door and he bolts back downstairs towards the kitchen, and that's when I heard what sounded like a door slamming. I have 3 older siblings I have 3 older siblings though, and someone is always up watching TV or running to the bathroom, so I think nothing of it. The cat finally stalks back into my room, but instead of curling up in my armpit like usual, he sat at the bottom of the bed staring at my door. I fell asleep until morning when some commotion wakes me up, and I pad down to the kitchen to find my parents on the phone with the police. They got up as usual to get ready for work, and while making coffee, my mom went to grab her things from the little jewelry dish she had by her sink because she would take them off in the evenings to rinse the dishes and load the dishwasher, but discovered the dish was empty this morning. Small town, so the sheriff sends a deputy over, and when my dad walks out to meet him, sees the ATV is missing from out back. The key is off the key ring. My brothers are all up at this point too, and we're all freaked out that while we were sleeping, some robber came in and removed the ATV key and saw an opportunity to take my mom's rings. They were asking if we had any clue when it happened, and my parents said no. My mom asked my middle brother, who was a freshman in college and home for the summer, what time he ended up off the couch last night and if he heard anything. He said he went to bed around 10 or 11, and asked what she meant, as his bedroom was in the basement and wouldn't have heard anything anyway in the kitchen. She said, but if you were in the living room off the kitchen when I went to feed the cat and shut the door you left open, I told you not to sleep on my couch and go to bed as soon as you went upstairs. He told mom he was in the basement since dinner and never went out or came upstairs again. He watched a movie in the basement living room before going to bed in his own bedroom. She goes white and realizes that the cat must have been trying to warn us someone came into the house, and the robber dove onto the couch and covered up to hide when she came into the kitchen and exited after she went back to bed. The cop said for someone to be so brazen that they probably knew our family, knew our habits, but didn't count on the cat being so overprotective, and probably intended to steal more, but was afraid the cat may wake up the whole house. It's been over 20 years since this happened, and the robber was never caught, but it is unnerving to think that it was probably someone who had been in our home before as a friend. Thank God for our cat.
What a cat.
Yeah, I've never heard of a cat doing this.
No.
That's pretty amazing.
Huh.
Somebody said, what a wonderful cat. Thanks for sharing. Somebody said the fact that the robber hit himself on the couch while your mom is feeding your cat is really chilling. Imagine if your mom discovered that the person on the couch is someone else rather than your brother. The outcome might have been very different. You have a very loyal and protective cat.
God, the idea, that's so creepy to think of that.
It is. Somebody's like, I have chills. Somebody said cats are very intuitive. Unfortunately, they can't vocalize their feelings. Okay, here's one for you. I need help and advice to remove my son, 15, from an online cult.
Oh, shit.
Hi, all. My son, now 15, has been taken by an online cult. Hamza is what it's called. Hamza.
Hamza?
Hamza. Of it being online, he is fully brainwashed and closed to any approach which involves critical thinking. I realized too late how deep he was into it and how harmful it is. I suppose there is perhaps advice as well as some known material that I should read on how to approach and help him leave. That you could recommend to me. Thank you. That's all they said. That's all they said, but let's see what other people said. An online cult, that's new. This is way above Reddit's pay grade. Find a mental health specialist in your area who specializes in trauma and organized abuse programming. If he is fully in, it is a deeply rooted, and even your best intended attempts might push him even further in. Please, please, please talk to a professional about it.
That's probably the best advice.
Yeah. Somebody else says, please go find professional help in your area. Be in control of the Wi-Fi. Just change the password or unplug it. Don't allow cults in your house if you do not want them in your house. You need
what
to fill
a simple solution.
Yeah. You need to fill his time with other things. I would like to know like what he's doing in this cult. Maybe I should Google this cult. Let me see. See what it says. Well, unfortunately, this cult only has a rating of 2.6 out of 10. That kind of sucks.
It's called Hamza?
Yeah. So apparently it's that dude's name.
The Cult of Improvement.
It's in the UK, a UK resident. He has over 400,000 subscribers to his main channel. Being a huge inspiration to young men and women, pushing them to become their best selves through ideas of self-improvement, creating what he calls a cult in which people of various ages from various backgrounds in a variety of different countries all come together discussing everything from fitness to finance. From fitness to finance to dating and anything else in between.
It looks like he's on YouTube too.
And
Twitter and Discord.
Never heard of this person.
What is it? Discord?
It says Hamza is clearly someone who has an underlying genius and shows off just how much transformation someone can do, from porn addicted video game craze, high instant gratification nerd, to sex addicted, drug addicted, alcohol and party addicted young man to who he is now. He shows what putting in hard work can do and how much change someone can do in less than a decade. He did the hard work, especially when he didn't feel like it, and you can too.
Maybe it's not a bad cult.
I mean, it's not sounding bad, but I mean, if it sounded bad, no one would join, right? Isn't that how it starts? I don't know. I don't really know. But there we go. I'm going to start a cult. I have a t-shirt that says that. Let's start a cult.
All cults are self-help.
Exactly.
Self-helping situations.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, which one should I do here? Okay, I'm going to go with this one. There are people living inside my walls. That's what it's called.
Now, I have heard stories about this thing before.
Yes. I live alone in an old country house. I bought this house off an old man who was moving in with his daughter after retirement. It's always been a rather creepy place. The house is at least 100 years old, but over the past few months, I've noticed something unsettling happening. I've always thought, so there's so many typos in these things. It makes me confused when I'm reading other people's stories. I've always thought that inside of my house was a bit smaller than the outside made it look to be. There was at least 3 feet between the outside walls and the inside walls, almost like someone could live there. I started noticing odd things one night after I finished watching a movie. I forget what the movie was, but there was something about a two-way mirror and it made me paranoid. So I went to each mirror in my house that hadn't put up myself and I checked. Surprised, they were all two-way mirrors. It didn't freak me out as much as you think. The other side would be in my wall, so no one would be able to see, right? Another thing that I've noticed is that in complete dead silence, I can hear chatter. I don't live in a neighborhood, more so in the middle of nowhere, but every time my house gets completely silent, I hear shh and whispering. Also, when they are eating or chewing and crunching, it is audible through the walls. Like I said earlier, I live alone, though I do find it weird that my leftovers disappear without a trace. Last night, I left a box of chicken nuggets from McDonald's in my fridge. When I woke up this morning, they were nowhere to be found. I'm not a drug addict or a drinker, so it couldn't have been my decision. It couldn't have been a decision I forgot about. My leftovers were just gone. Also, my electric and water bills are much higher than they should be, almost as if my lights were on and I was sleeping. I might be forgetful, but I don't leave the tap on every night, and I really can't sleep with lights on. More weird things. My laundry has been going missing. Recently, my favorite sweatshirt disappeared. Little things like socks, underwear, and bras are vanishing too. This is definitely peculiar.
For sure.
You may be thinking, if people are living inside your walls, how do you get inside of your house? How do they get inside of your house? Well, there is a large vent near the entrance to my house. It is big enough for a person to get through, and it leads to the inside of my wall. The screws have been loose recently. I haven't opened the vent because I'm scared. I don't know who is living in my walls, nor how much they know about me. It's better to pretend they aren't there. They haven't hurt me yet.
I like how she says yet.
I went to visit my mom the other day and brought up the wall people. She told me to stay calm and don't acknowledge that they are there. Maybe make them extra leftovers and buy extra things for them. They'll less likely hurt me this way. I have no clue if the people inside my walls are serial killers or just random hobos living in the only place they can. I'm still going to remain cautious. I have a handgun if anything does happen, but for now, I just have people living inside my walls. That is so weird. Like, what mom is just like, just make extra food so they have leftovers and buy some like extra deodorant and maybe some extra underwear and leave it out and about? Why don't you just support them and then maybe, just maybe, they won't come out of the walls and kill you? Oh my gosh, who says that?
Yeah, like tell those bitches to go get an Uber job.
Obviously,
of some sorts.
Obviously, we know how the daughter thinks because her mom thinks that way too. When you were laughing, like they haven't hurt me yet.
Yeah. I mean, like, why don't you call the police and have the police go in and check then? Crazy?
I know somebody said call the police or put gas in the walls to kill them.
Oh my God.
Somebody said, God, your mom is awful. You're a woman, I'm assuming, with a name like Elena, and she wanted you to go home. I would not permit my daughter to return. I wouldn't care if she was 50 years old. I didn't spend my life caring for her and her safety to make sure she was happy just to let wall hobos rape and eat her. No way. I'd be going with her father and any other person I knew, armed and ready to burn the house down if necessary. There is nothing good that can come of this.
Wall hobos.
I mean, she's got a point.
Especially with the three-way or the two-way mirror thing.
Yes, like, oh, that's totally normal.
Let me dress in the other room because I don't want to see our guests see me naked.
I just don't understand. I think that what I'll do now is I'll read one more and then we're going to switch over to our Patreon episode. This is going to be our June one in July. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So if you want to continue this awesomeness, follow us there. But here we go. This one's titled All My Exes Die After We Break Up. My first girlfriend, Crystal, died at 16, right after I broke up with her. For a long time, I thought it was just a coincidence. I felt differently when my next girlfriend, Nicole, died right after we broke up a few years later. They both died in odd circumstances. Crystal crashed her car flat sober on a straight road by herself. Nicole drowned in the bathtub after falling asleep. Both were labeled as accidents. I was never questioned by police, but plenty of people around town wondered if I was cursed. I wondered the same. Then I moved away. The military took me all the way across the country, and I was happy. I fell in love with a girl named Katie. Everything was good until I went to a cousin's wedding out of town by myself. The drinks flowed, too many. I lost control. I got in deep with a girl there I thought was too hot to not keep talking to and drinking with. We ended up back at my hotel room. I was too drunk to stop. We had sex and she stayed the night with me. I woke up with an instant sinking feeling of regret. I also woke up alone, but the girl whose name I can't even remember was in the bathroom. She was crying. I listened to her weep uncontrollably for a few moments, unsure of what to do. Then I heard glass breaking and I rushed into the bathroom. The girl from the night before was in there with the shard of broken mirror in her grasp. I begged her not to hurt herself. She screamed back at me that she loved her boyfriend and she couldn't believe what she had done and she wanted to die. Then she inexplicably started saying a name I haven't heard in years. Holly Eve. Hearing that name reach into the darkest recesses of my brain. Holly Eve was a dirt poor girl in my 5th grade class. homely. She was teased and someone who received no interest as someone anyone wanted to date. Instead, she was mocked. We went too far. Someone dared me to ask out Holly Eve and pretended to be your boyfriend for a week. I agreed to do it, trying to impress my peers. Holly Eve seemed to have no idea that the thing was fake. She held my hand on the schoolyard and didn't seem to see the other kids snickering all the while. The worst part is that I could feel she was a sweet and genuine during our time together. She was a nice person. I had to get out of it. I had my friend break up with her a few days into our spoof relationship. Holly Eve was crushed. I felt horrible. She never made eye contact with me again. One day after recess, I came back to my desk and found a piece of paper with burnt ends and found an endless abyss of vulgar and dark words all over it in black ink and pentagrams. I decided to decipher what it meant, but I couldn't. It was just awful things. Embarrassed and guilty, I never told anyone about it or confronted Holly Eve about it. Holly Eve moved away at the end of that year. One of the girls in the class said she lived near her and thought her parents were deep into the occult, witches, spells, all that kind of stuff. I figured it was all bullshit. It wasn't until I heard the woman in the bathroom screaming out her name that all of those words of hate and love and darkness on that burnt paper Holly left on my desk came back into my head. That dark little girl must have cursed me and any lover that left me. Holly Eve, the word spat out of one night stand in the bathroom and snatched me out of my memory dive. Then the woman took the shard of glass and sliced both of her wrists before I could even try to do anything. The girl from the wedding ended up living, and she explained to everyone that she did what she did to herself and wanted to cover up for me being there to protect her own relationship. So I got lucky and no one ever found out. I know what you're thinking, though, but don't. The girl later died after her wounds were infected from the gases. The curse was still alive. I had an easy solution to it all. I was going to marry Katie and stay with her forever. I proposed. She was a bit thrown off by the haste, but she said yes. Everything was going well. We kept going through the motions of love and prep and slow planning our wedding. I wasn't in any particular hurry. Then I came home one day and her wedding ring was resting on the kitchen counter with a note that she was leaving me. No reason was given. She said in the note that she had to stay away from me for a week so she could clear her mind. There was no way I can make that happen. I knew I was racing a clock. I was waiting to hear that she had died every second as I drove around, going to every place that she could be. I found her at her sister's house, and after hours of pleading and explaining that her safety was in serious question, she finally came out and talked to me in the yard. I explained everything. I watched her face convey that she now regretted every single second of our relationship. Then she walked inside. Weeks went by without much sleep. I just kept thinking I was going to be invited to her funeral and wondered if it would be the same circumstance where people thought I might have done it to her. She showed up in the middle of the night one night with a knock on my door. I let her in, so happy to see her alive and breathing. She explained that she had nearly died in 3 separate freak accidents since she left me. She believed in the curse. She could feel it inside her. She had suicidal thoughts she had never imagined before. We had to be together. The wedding was back on. Now you're probably wondering, why did the dark little girl who I messed with back in 5th grade do something that ultimately won me back the love of my life? Wasn't she going to try to kill Katie or something? The thing was, my time away from Katie made me realize that I didn't love her. I didn't really miss her and enjoyed my time alone. I thought about my previous dearly departed partners. I thought I loved them more than her, and I dreamt of a relationship that would truly bring it all together for me. I was cursed with the fake love forever, or I had to be okay with Katie dying. So the fake relationship I pranked that poor girl with in 5th grade meant I was going to be stuck in a fake relationship for the rest of my life. Well played, Holly Eve.
Dude's awful full of himself.
Let me see what people are saying about this. Nothing good is coming up.
Do people believe it's a fake story?
I think it is. I don't know.
Why don't you marry yourself, asshole?
So I said, I feel like Holly Eve is really doubling down. OP was super shitty to her, but a lot of women have died horribly despite having nothing to do with the offending incident. Now, poor Katie is sentenced to a loveless relationship with someone who has already cheated on her and she can't get out of it alive. Not cool, Holly Eve. Not cool. Yeah.
But we could turn it around and say that the dude is not cool, though.
That's true.
He caused it.
Somebody said, try to find Holly Eve. Yeah. Why doesn't he try to find her? Right? If this is a thing. This just sounds like a movie.
Fishy.
So I said, I thought the one night stand girl was going to turn out to be her for a second. I kind of thought that too. Anyway. All right. So we're going to end our episode right here and switch to the bonus. Do you have anything to add?
No.
So follow us into the dark where Holly Eve awaits on the Patreon side.
Into the bonus woods.
Yes. All right. So that's all we got for you. We'll be bringing an update soon on podcasting, and we're going to plan on taking a break for the summer. Not the whole summer, but taking a break. Yeah. It's all right, guys.
Summer's about halfway over.
Yeah, it is. So we'll let you know when we have the plan set in stone. But anyways, all right, we're going to switch over to Patreon. If you guys want to listen to more, you know how to do it. We have our link below in the show notes. Go sign up and support our podcast and listen to all our bonus fabulous episodes that we do. Does that sound convincing? I don't know.
Sure.
All right.
Lovely.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.